First story. My wife cheated on me, and the separation was the best thing that happened to me in my life. The title may sound a little controversial, but I wanted to relate my recent experience of my separation and being cheated on, and I feel it was the best thing that could have happened to me. I feel sad deep down because I had many dreams for the future with her, but I also feel relieved that I didn't do it. I'm 26M, and she was 34F. My marriage was quite short, 11 months, and I was with her for 4 years. One day I found out that she was cheating me, and our separation happened, and the divorce is in progress right now. The best part, which I never expected, happened later. The cheating happened because I had sexual problems for about 3 months. Premature ejaculation in some cases and erectile dysfunction that only happened 3 or 4 times. But I really felt that this was just temporal, because I was not always like this. I was pretty close-minded with my parents and really kept a lot to myself or just to friends. One of my biggest fears was that my father would pass away and I would never have given him a grandchild, because I am an only child on his side. I have other siblings on my mother's side and she already is a grandchild. After this happened, I decided to be honest with him and tell him how I felt because it was really hard to do right now. He is 71 years old. And for the first time I felt that I no longer had a weight on my shoulders when he said, "Don't worry, with what you are doing in your life I am very happy with you. Who knows, I may live many more years. But really deep down I don't want you to have a child with anyone, I want you to have it with someone you consider good." I tried to be honest about my sexual problems with him. And the first thing he did was to laugh with happiness and tell me, I suffered from that too, and several people I know too. It's just temporary, don't worry. You would have told me a long time ago and I would have helped you. After that, I decided to fix my friendships. Since I pushed them away quite a bit during my marriage, especially the female ones, I was afraid that I would get into some situation that would upset my ex-wife, and what I was really doing was pushing them away. When I started to meet with friends from university after the separation, I felt that I should really value people more and not just my marriage. Something that really left me marked was that one of my friends said, "The other time you told me to go out and drink with the whole group, I told them today to come. Because you do not usually ask for that kind of thing and I figured that you needed it." Also, I was happy, because all my friends and family came to my house after this happened. I feel that I was worth for people. Even some of my friends bring me food because they know that I was not eating well. I lost 11 pounds since this happened last month, and I was living alone, and this really helped me. I started to notice how other people are, other women. Although I was not and am not ready to go out in a relationship, and I saw things that I normalized in her. One day while sharing with a friend I noticed something that really made an impression on me. And that is that she actually listened to what I said and put the phone down. Even though she worked in social media and was on the phone most of the day. This surprised me because my ex-wife never listened to me when I told her something and she was always on the phone. I had to repeat things 3 or 4 times, and she always told me wait a minute, and she didn't even work. She was always like that from the beginning. Sometimes she excused that it was work, but I always thought it was normal because of the addiction there is today with social network. Maybe there's more things that I can look different in other girls, and maybe I can enjoy more the process and not just to look only in the results. I always felt bad with my friends because she never shared with me when I went out with them, but I always shared with her friends and family, while their wife or partner did sometimes. The same thing happened in my family. My parents felt bad because she didn't visit or share with them. And one day when my mom decided to invite her and her family out to eat, she told her a lie that same day because we were fighting at the time and criticized my mom for feeling bad about it, saying that she should grow up and accept that there are times when you can't go to things. I didn't insist more when that happened because I thought that not all families get along, and I thought I would respect that and not insist. When this happened, I felt a relief that I didn't have to deal with it. That I didn't have to try harder to make her look good or make excuses or lies to my friends or family, because she didn't want to share with me. And after a while, I felt that it was a bad thing and that I was lucky to have ended things this way. I didn't have to deal with her anymore, or have her say horrible things to me and try to fix things so it wouldn't keep happening. I felt like I could start a new page and have new boundaries. I also found that after this I feel that I could be more observant with girls, and not just choose them because I like them, but do it now because it is right for me as well. I always thought that girls were not perfect and it was okay to accept bad things because everyone had, but I think now it is necessary to choose careful, and not being afraid of starting again with new boundaries that you feel comfortable. This is my third breakup. And this is my longest relationship and first marriage. And I don't really feel sad like in the previous ones, because really in the deep, I feel that I won more things during this process than losing. And this is the first time in my life that I feel positive. I feel that maybe one day I can know a girl that can fit with who I am. And I can fit her with what she is really in the deep. Edit. I also had to add that still, I had to deal with bad moments and sadness because I lost her and I lost my dreams with her. And sometimes I even feel that I may not be worth to other girls, but I think it's normal. Once I regain my confidence, I feel positive that I can manage it. I really feel that even with my problems and flaws, I can be a good husband in the future. And I also believe I can marry again in the future with the right girl. She may not be the first marriage love, but I can be a long-lasting partner. You're right, she told me back then a lot of excuses. This guy manipulated me. This was in the process of separation. I wanted to know if all guys had the same problems than you. When I discovered it, you still have ex-girl in your social media. Maybe you even did long time ago and I didn't know. You're not a saint. This was when I told her that I started to do the divorce process, and it was my language study partner that I had to push because I was afraid of this leading into problems. Maybe there's not an actual reason at all. She just did because she wanted. I'm doing NC and letting the lawyer do all the work on this because I want to focus on my work and myself. And I'm trying not to deal with her in the meantime. If all this ended, there's no point on talking it with her. It's the most healthy approach for both. Yeep, her family knows, but probably I won't go in touch with them again. When I told her mother about doing the divorce, she got angry and told me that I don't know about marriage, and that I never loved her daughter, because I'm not giving her an opportunity. She was in a marriage and she's separate from her husband 8 times before leaving for sure. And I was just delusional and wanted to take it out of their family house only, because she never stayed in another house. And I bring her daughter always before night, and she was allowed to stay in another place once she was married. Maybe it was her reason, but not mine back then. I did it because I wanted her in my life. Then the conversation went like this, me, your daughter is an adult. She can know how valuable are things, and how she can lose them, and she didn't think about it before doing this. Mother, she didn't lose anything. She is young and she can get any man. She said this because they have too much pride. Me. Okay. After that, my ex-wife called me telling me all things, like telling me that she is going to divorce because she wanted, and telling me at the end in an arrogant way you should go to therapy to fix your issues. About the annulment, I cannot do it in my country, and it way more faster to divorce and I think is better. I don't want to have that wait, and it is safe to do it fast. Second story. GF cheated on me while in the club last night with her friends. This is more of a rant than anything. For the past 4 years of us doing long-distance dating, there were a lot of ups and downs. We met during COVID and everything seemed to be so aligned. We had so much fun while the world was in chaos and we couldn't leave our homes for a good part of 2 years. I had wanted to visit her, but couldn't, and my flights got cancelled due to COVID. While we were dating online, prior to us even meeting, she had cheated on me once with a guy, stating how long distance was difficult and hard. With my flights getting cancelled, I guess she gave up hope. She was also quite young then, 18. Since we had such a connection, it wasn't something I wanted to just throw away. And she eventually dumped him when she realized I couldn't be replaced with someone else. My mind was telling me I should have left. However, another part of me just wanted to see her, to experience everything we had chatted about in person. When we met, it was like fireworks. Her acts of infidelity were forgotten and we continued to enjoy each other's company. After the trip, we decided to be official since we had met and things were real now. For the past 3 years we'd meet 2-3 times a year. She or I would stay about 2 weeks on average per trip. Things were looking great. We were talking about the future, living together, etc. I even got a decent job in tech and it finally felt like things were seriously aligning. We met each other's family and each of our parents really loved us. What seemed so hard at first, long distance, was finally becoming more manageable as we had goals to see each other every so often. Long story short, prior to the second infidelity, which took place last night, she was talking about how long distance was difficult and how she wasn't sure if she'd come live in America with me. I questioned and argued her on where these thoughts were coming from, and she blamed it on her internship as she was working full-time as we couldn't FaceTime as much as we used to. Perhaps this was her way of telling me this wasn't going to work out, but couldn't break it off because she loved me. Or perhaps she was telling me all this because she was already talking with someone and knew she would stay put in her country. We literally FaceTime for many hours on end during the entire 3-year relationship, as I work from home. Even a year ago we were talking about living in our favorite city and having an apartment together, etc. I told her my career was so much better here in the States, and that if I move up, we could live a comfortable lifestyle rather than me moving to her country. Now, one side of her that I always disliked was her affinity of clubbing. She would always go clubbing with her friends probably 1 time a week or even more. She never went to the club with guys as she doesn't have guy friends. And she would send long video Snapchats of her dancing and such. Well, she did do hooking up and such at 18. She knew how serious infidelity was to us, and so she always communicated very frequently on what she was doing and when she was going home. When she broke my trust the first time, we both concluded perhaps it was because we didn't meet yet. And so for the next 3 years, after we became official in person, she slowly built up my trust again and my comfort of her going to the club. I was always skeptical though, because clubs are environments where girls not only have fun with friends, but also hook up with guys because of alcohol. However, she would always be communicative until last night. She exhibited behaviors as she was getting progressively more drunk. When she committed the first infidelity 4 years ago, she would barely send snaps. She would send me weird drunk messages that made no sense. She was out extremely late, 4:30 a.m., as she usually gets home around 2 a.m. for the entire 3 years. I had a gut feeling this was it. Funny enough, the first time she committed infidelity, she would turn her location off, but this time it was on for me to see. I'm not sure if it was because she was feeling no shame or something, but I knew it was the end. A part of me tells me I'm a fucking idiot. Once a cheater, always a cheater, right? I'm not sure, as I have cheated before, and during the relationship with the new girl, I never cheated before. I gave the relationship the benefit of the doubt. We did and saw so many incredible things. I'm blaming mostly all of this to long distance, because I'm not sure if she would have done anything if we had lived so much closer. If she went to the club, I would have been there and we always would have went home. When we met, we frequented the club and nothing ever happened. It was perfect. Of course, I'm not trying to minimize the fact that she did blatantly cheat again. Like the first time, she came clean. For some reason, a very small part of me wants to take her back, but a larger portion wants me to leave. She has officially broken trust. The only part that wants me to take her back is the fact that she will be the only girlfriend that has seen my father before he passed away, and he liked her. But I do know if I stay this time, not only would it mean I am not respecting myself, but also I am saying it is okay for infidelity to happen. I am saying it's okay for her to have her cake and eat it too. Could things change if I placed even more rules? The first time she did infidelity, I placed the whole Snapchat me very often rule, which she happily did for 3 years to regain my trust, only for it to be broken again. Perhaps it's because she's the type of person who constantly needs attention and physical affection, and so if she doesn't get it, she looks at other avenues. Whatever the case may be, what's done is done, and a large portion of me says that I would be a fool if I took her back. Why get hurt again? Is it sunk cost fallacy of the time, effort, and money put into the relationship? We talk about our paths crossing someday, but I wonder if I want them to even cross given everything that's happened so far. Was everything a lie? Or perhaps the love just faded, and her infidelity was the action proving that to me, as she always had a very hard time confronting about her feelings, unless she was a bit tipsy. Third story. Me, 29M, and my wife, 29F, together for 8 years with 2 kids and a house. I know she went to her ex-boyfriend's house tonight. Where to go from here? I'll try not to drag this on and provide brief overview of the facts. My wife and I have been together 8 years and married for 4 now. We have 2 kids and a house together, and we both work full-time. We have had a good relationship up until a year ago. I found out she kissed another guy while she was out with her friends, that she occasionally goes out drinking and partying with. They are mostly single, and I believe she is the only married one out of the group. I've never been super comfortable with her with that same group of friends since then. Ever since then she has had her location on so we could have a sort of trust, since that was broken previous. Since then I have been paranoid from this broken trust, and I feel like it's affected me pretty poorly. Fast forward to tonight when she went to get her nails done around 6 p.m. Then while she was there texted me telling me her friends wanted her to have drinks and catch up. I put our kids to bed, and while I was in bed decided to check in and make sure everything was okay, and pulled up her location before going to sleep and noticed she was moving away from where she said she was at. I immediately texted and asked what was going on, and she said I have to move my car so I don't get charged, which seemed odd, because she was moving away from where she was supposedly at. I asked where she was going, and she replied, I am going to drive my friend home soon to her mom's house, which I found strange because said friend lives walking distance to where my wife was at hanging out earlier. I then called and asked, where are you going? And she stumbled a bit and said, hold on, and I could hear her whispers in the background. She reiterated this story about the friend's mom's house. I waited a few and checked again and noticed she was in a strange neighborhood, not where said friend's mom used to live. I had been there a long time ago. I proceeded to call her on phone, and I could not get any answer for about 15 to 20 minutes. I looked up the address she was at and popped up with her ex's name. My stomach and heart sank. She eventually called and said she was on the way. Same story as before. While all this was transpiring, 2 of said friends texted me. Strange they don't ever message me, trying to cover for my wife. She got home and set some grocery bags from Target down and went to bed. She said she got some stuff for me and the kids, so I looked after she went to bed. And the receipt showed 2 charges for bralettes amongst other things. These brass weren't in the bag. She's in bed and I've been up drinking, not sure where to go from here. I feel broken and betrayed. I'm not perfect, and I'm the first to admit that. I would never commit infidelity, and I just feel betrayed. For me and my kids' sake, Everything I do is for them as I'm the major breadwinner and support most of the household. Thanks for any feedback or advice in advance.